All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're not talking about some sci-fi fantasy or a prediction for the distant future. Nope, we are looking at a pretty stark reality that is unfolding right now. This is all based on a first-hand account from a CEO who is, as we speak, replacing his employees with AI. So let's get into it and break down what's actually happening.
So check this out. The source for this whole explainer, a CEO of a mid-sized marketing agency, kicks things off with this bombshell. He says, I just fired 6 employees and replaced them with AI. Now, this isn't some hypothetical scenario. It's a cold, hard fact. And it really sets the stage for this massive shift that's happening across the entire professional world. This isn't about budget cuts or, poor performance. This is about a technology that has simply gotten better at doing the job.
Okay, so who exactly was on the chopping block? Well, the list includes 2 junior copywriters, a market research analyst, a technical documentation specialist, a social media manager, and a junior graphic designer. I mean, these are pretty common jobs, right? Entry-level, mid-level, white-collar roles you see everywhere. And the combined cost of keeping them on the payroll, let's just say it's significant.
$313,000. Just let that sink in for a second. That's the total annual savings from cutting just those 6 positions. Now, for any mid-sized business, that number is absolutely impossible to ignore. It's a massive, massive boost to the bottom line. But what did it cost to get there? That's the real kicker.
$2,400. That's it. Just $2,400. That is the annual subscription cost for all the AI tools that replaced over $300,000 in salaries. The return on investment here it's staggering. We're talking over 100 to 1. And this right here is the brutal, simple math that every CEO is running in their head right now.
So let's not beat around the bush. Let's call this what it is: the AI firing squad. And again, this isn't some future prediction. This is a case study of what's happening today. And for the CEO we're talking about, the whole thing, the big turning point, it all came down to a single project.
Okay, so take Emily. She was a skilled market research analyst. Her task was to put together this huge, comprehensive report, a job that, all in, took her 38 hours. But then her boss gave the exact same task to an AI named Claude. And you want to know how long it took? 18 minutes. And that includes the time it took to write the prompts. To top it all off, the client actually said they preferred the AI's version. And right there, in that moment, the CEO knew everything had just changed for good.
So that one experience, that one project with Emily, it basically started a countdown. The author of our source material calls it the automation death clock. And believe me, it is ticking, specifically for 3 career families that are predicted to face extinction by 2027.
All right, first up on the list, the initial draft class. Now, who are these people? Well, these are the folks whose main job is to pull information together from different places and generate a first draft of, well, pretty much anything. We're talking blog posts, research summaries, even legal briefs. Their whole function is just creating that first version.
Just think about the impact on a typical workflow. For example, creating the monthly blog posts for a company. That used to take 20 hours of human labor. Now, it's down to just 4 hours. The AI spits out the first drafts in minutes. That is an 80% time reduction. In that kind of system, a junior copywriter doesn't just become expensive, they become a bottleneck.
And the timeline for this group, it's aggressive. By 2025, the prediction is that companies will start replacing these roles at a massive scale. And that's going to lead to mass layoffs in 2026. So if your job is basically creating first drafts, the writing's on the wall. You've got about 18 to 24 months to completely reinvent yourself.
Okay, the next group on the chopping block is the synthesis class. And these aren't just entry-level jobs, okay? We're talking about mid-level professionals, people who take complex data and translate it into something everyone can understand. Turning raw spreadsheets into a PowerPoint deck or taking employee feedback and turning it into an HR report. Now here's the really alarming part. AI isn't just faster at this kind of work. A lot of the time, it's actually better. Why? Because it can process way more data without any of the human biases we all have. The timeline here shows that by 2026, AI is expected to be at over 100% of human capability, which is going to trigger mass replacement. Remember Emily, the market research analyst? Yeah, she was in this category. And finally, we have the volume class. These are the creative folks who are all about producing a high quantity of repeatable, template-driven work. You know what I mean? Daily social media posts, a dozen variations of the same ad graphic,
or those formulaic SEO articles. Their whole value is in their output and their consistency.
And you guessed it, their timeline is just as grim. A social media manager's entire 40-hour work week can be crunched down to about 5 hours with AI. By 2027, the prediction is that a single person, using AI tools that cost maybe $20 a month, will be able to outproduce what entire teams of people do today. Just think about that.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Oh great, another automation panic. We've heard all this before. And you know what? That's a totally fair point. But the argument here is that this time, this wave of change is fundamentally different. And here's why. Think about it. Previous automation waves, they were all about physical labor. They required massive, super expensive infrastructure, and they took decades to roll out. This AI wave, it's targeting our brains, cognitive work. It deploys in 3 to 5 times years, not decades. And all it takes is a cheap software subscription. You don't have to build a factory anymore. You just have to click subscribe.
Okay, so how in the world do you survive this? It's not all doom and gloom. The argument is that it all comes down to shifting your value. You have to move away from competence and toward insight. It's about developing 2 very specific skills that AI simply cannot replicate.
The first skill is becoming what's called a Socratic prompt engineer. Now, this isn't just about knowing how to use ChatGPT, it's about designing the thinking that drives the tool. In short, it's about asking way better questions, profound, non-obvious questions that force the AI to explore unique ideas and come up with high-value answers that nobody else is getting.
Just look at this comparison. A bad prompt, write about productivity tips, gets you a boring, generic list you've read 1,000 times. But a good Socratic prompt? It completely reframes the problem. It forces the AI to think from a totally unique perspective and generate truly original insights. This is where the human value is now, in the quality of the question you ask.
The second untouchable skill is being a cultural translator. See, an AI can give you a technically perfect, totally logical answer. But what it can do is understand unspoken office politics. It can't predict irrational human emotions or grasp why a solution that looks perfect on paper will completely fail in a specific company culture.
This quote from the source just nails it perfectly. An AI analyzed hospital complaints and said, okay, you need a high-tech queue system to reduce wait times. But a human, the cultural translator, realized, wait a minute, they weren't actually upset about waiting. They were upset about the uncertainty. The solution wasn't expensive tech. It was just having a staff member come out and give a simple human update every 15 minutes. That's a skill AI just can't touch.
So what can you actually do about all this? Starting like tomorrow? Well, the good news is there's a clear, actionable survival plan to help you take control of your career right now. Okay, here's the game plan. Step 1, audit your skills. Figure out what percentage of your job could be automated today. Step 2, test yourself. Actually try using AI on your recent projects and see what happens. Step 3, start learning to ask better questions. Spend just 30 minutes a day working on your prompting skills. Step 4, pivot your value. Stop being a doer and become a thinker. Step 5, volunteer. Be the person on your team who offers to lead AI implementation. And finally, step 6, find and double down on your unfair advantage. That one human skill you have that AI can't copy. This is how you become part of the solution, not the problem.
And that really brings us to the final challenging thought here. This shift, it's happening, with or without you. The age of the information worker is ending, and the age of the insight worker is just beginning. So the choice, really, is to either cling to a job that's not going to exist in a few years, or to reinvent yourself and become more valuable than ever before. The clock, as they say, is running.